hops into the live, I can try to request her, but I don't see her yet. She's going to be the one who's going to be interviewed. It's going to be my first interview. I'm excited. Thank you. Appreciate that. Tons, too many times. I love your content. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate everybody for, for those who tune in, who support me. Like, I really appreciate y'all. At the end of the day, I mean, without you following me, without you liking my content and sharing it and showing me all the love and all these positive vibes, I mean, I wouldn't be here. So I appreciate y'all. I'm always gonna show y'all love. Like, thank y'all. And as long as I'm doing what I'm doing, all you ladies out there will have a safe place. You always have a safe place on my page. So, like I've said previously, my way of giving back. Okay, I'm trying to find her. Where is she? So Myra, once you get in here, I need you to so I can click on you to try to invite you in. But I can't search for you.
Hi, my name is Maria, but you are soon going to know me as Brown Girl Interrupting. And what I mean by that is that very soon, hopefully, you're going to be following my blog. I am a writer, and I started writing because I was married, I had children, and then my life changed when I separated, and I did a lot of learning and reflecting and growing in that process of change, because change always leads us to that. And I've decided to share that with the rest of the world, because sometimes hearing that someone else is going through the same thing as you, or understanding and putting words to the feelings and experiences we're having, helps us to heal from them, or grow from them, or learn from them. And so that's what my blog is. It's writing about life, healing, relationships, parenting, dating, marriage, pain, love, mistakes, growth, and coming out whole still in all of it as a human, flawed, but always open to new things. So that's my life, that's my journey, and it's written in this blog. But my hope is that you are going to go to www.browngirlinterrupting.com and join and subscribe to the blog and read all about my story to help you maybe gain some perspective on yours.
She can't join. I'm noticing that. So this kind of sucks. Well, the topic is supposed to be turning pain into suffering, and I was supposed to be interviewed by another creator on here. But for some reason, I can't request her to join. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. hit the request button. Best bet is YouTube. So almost sounds like it. You can't request, it says. This sucks. So I guess we just found out through technical difficulties that I cannot request my interviewer to come in, because I guess she doesn't have enough followers, and even though I do, I guess I can't have anybody come in. Can you come in? Who is this? Show me. You want to send me a You want to send me a request to come in? Come in. Ask me a couple of questions. I guess what we'll do is we'll try to figure something else out. We'll improvise. Listen, at the end of the day, things don't always work out the way we plan. Improvise. Listen, at the end of the day, questions. I'll allow guests to come in right now. Y'all can answer. Y'all can ask me questions. I'll answer them. What is the best part of me as a person? I think compassion, my empathy. I would if I would have to say my empathy is the best part of me.
Hi, my name is Maria, but you are soon going to know me as Brown Girl Interrupting. And what I mean by that is that very soon, hopefully, you're going to be following my blog. I am a writer, and I started writing because I was married, I had children,
if a man says
and
he's
then
sorry
my
for
life
hurting you,
changed when I separated, and I did a lot of learning and reflecting and growing in that process of change, because change always leads us to that. And I've decided to share that with the rest of the world.
I think we all can agree to that.
Sometimes if you really want to apologize to someone, or understanding
change the behavior
and
in which that apology is associated
and
with.
experiences we're having,
that's how you apologize.
Helps us to heal from them, or grow
that's
from
the best
them,
apology.
or learn from them. And so that's what my blog is. It's writing about life, healing, relationships, parenting, dating, marriage, pain, love, mistakes, growth, and coming out whole still in all of it as a human, flawed, but always open to new things. So that's my life, that's my journey, and it's written in this blog. But my hope is that you are going to go to www.browngirlinterrupting.com and join and subscribe to the blog and read all about my story to help you maybe gain some perspective on yours.
difficulties. I can't invite her in because she might not have enough followers on her end. So
Oh.
so yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, we just rock the way we rock right now, you know.
Oh, she's on there. I see her. Brown Girl Interrupting.
Yeah, but I can't invite her in.
Oh, does she not have enough? She doesn't have over 1,000 followers. I'm muted. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I think you're muted. I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
I'm gonna try to go over the channel. Yeah, I'm gonna try to
You're
go over to
back
Brown
now.
Girls Interrupting YouTube channel. Huh?
We couldn't hear you for like the whole time you were talking. We couldn't hear you.
Gotcha. I was speaking to Brown Girl Interrupting. She's gonna do it on her YouTube channel. So I want to the video. I mean, to the review. Go over to Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube, and I'm going to do it over there. All right.
Okay.
So I'll give everybody a few minutes, just say about to come on and see if they can find me on YouTube. All right.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube. All right.
Is it interrupting or interrupted?
Interrupting with
Okay.
an ing. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
All right. Bye.
All right. Hi, everybody. It is so nice to have you here. Sorry about all the crazy technical difficulties. We are going to get this conversation started, though. So, for those of you who don't know, I am Brown Girl Interrupting, also known as Maria, and we are about to have a really special treat, which is that we are going to be hearing from the meme king for real, who is all over social media and talks about relationships and healing. And we're going to hear a little bit about him, his story. He'll be coming in to join us shortly. And there he is. What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up? And how are you, man?
I am doing well, thank you. Sorry about all that.
No worries. So I'm just going to catch everybody up. So we were on TikTok, and we're going to be waiting for some friends, I think some of your followers, to come and join us on YouTube. And while we are, we'll catch everybody up. So we were on TikTok, and little technical difficulties. Couldn't get the interview going, but it's cool. It's cool. Look, life is about dealing with the challenges and rolling with it and keep moving. So I appreciate that your fans are doing that with us, and thanks for being flexible with technology with me too.
Absolutely. I can't really hear you too much. I'm trying to figure out is there a way for me to turn the volume, and then the screen is really small. Let's see.
So there is a way for you to increase the screen, and I'm going to put on my headphones, so this will be better. All right, can you hear me now?
Let me see if I can put on my my buds.
All right, and welcome, Farina. You are on now. Thank you. And we love the Meme King. I know y'all are all fans. I saw all the comments in the TikTok chat. He is a little bit of a legend on social media. It's pretty damn cool. So I'm excited about our conversation today that we're going to be having. And thanks to all of you for being so flexible with our like shift and whatnot. While he's camming up and he's figuring our earbuds out, I just want to give you a little intro to who I am. So I am Brown Girl Interrupting, and I am a blogger. I started off just writing about my own story about healing through my blog, Brown Girl Interrupting. And I then came across one day on TikTok this amazing man who had this like profound statement about healing and relationships. And it kind of just like took me on. Like I was just like, I was in it, right? I started, and then I would keep seeing the Meme Kim come up. And maybe this is the same story that a lot of you have of how you started following him. And I started following him. And then after following him for a while, what I started to see, which was really cool, is that there are a lot of people who not only follow him, but are using his voice and his story and his ideas to to share their own stories, to, post on TikTok. And so this is why he is here with me today. So even though I know we started off on his TikTok, because he does have a lot more followers than me, we are here on my channel because I want to know his story of how he turned pain into power and started healing others, because that is what I hear in the chat. That is what I've seen happen. That is the beautiful thing that has come through from all of your messages that you have been sharing. And so what's up? How we feeling? Are we good with sound?
I can't really hear you too much, so I'm gonna have to pay close attention. That's okay. We'll work through it.
Okay, we'll work through it, and I'm gonna try to do my best to see if I can put up my volume. How's that sounding?
It's all right.
All right. Okay.
I can hear you enough.
Okay. All right. Okay. So first off, it is really awesome to have you here, and I know that everybody is dying to know your story because you have some amazing things that you've been sharing in terms of relationships. And the power of what I've noticed is that you're able to not only impact the way women respond, but men respond to you too. And that's just a rare thing I've seen, is that anybody's content that can affect and really impact both men and women is pretty powerful. And it says a lot. So I got to ask you, was there a moment or like a moment in your life that ignited this whole desire for you to share your wisdom about relationships?
Well, if you wanna get like go back further than Meme King, there was a period of time in my life where I wasn't the best man. I wasn't the best guy. I didn't love women properly. I was pretty much not a good guy. And before Meme King, back in about, I'm gonna say 2010, I decided I had broke a woman's heart. I had really hurt someone who really cared about me. She really loved me. Like she was what society likes to call, what we call ride or die. Like she was a ride or die woman, and I didn't treat her right at all. And after really hurting her, I woke up one day and I wasn't happy with myself at all. Not as a man, not as a dad, not as anything. And I made a commitment to myself to want to do better. I accepted who I was at that time and said, listen, you need change. If you ever want your sons to grow up and choose and be a man, you have to lead by example. If you ever want your daughter to grow up and choose a suitor, you want to lead by example. You want her to choose a suitor like you. So in order for these things to happen, you have to be the example. So I started working on myself, and it took me 6 years. 6 years of really tearing back the layers. 6 years of getting ugly, really getting into it.
Yeah.
And I was finally healthy enough to love a woman back in like 2016 is when I finally arrived.
Wow. All right. So, okay. So, when you say you finally arrived and you started to open up after this commitment, how did that, I mean, is that part of your trajectory to becoming the meme king too? I mean, did something
So no,
happen with this particular?
when I say that I arrived, meaning that I I became healthy enough as a man to love a woman properly. Where those real toxic traits that destroy women were no longer evident to me. I had conquered all those. I had addressed my insecurities. Uh, um I had educated myself. I had committed to being a better man. So I was healthy enough to love a woman properly. So that's when I say I arrived. Um, what started Meme King, the idea behind Meme King came about, let's say, about a year and a few months ago. Even though my first video in Meme King was introduced to the world through TikTok and IG May 1st of 7 months ago. The idea of Meme King came about a year ago after I went through a breakup. I had a woman broke my heart, and and it was karma. It was karma coming back to repay his debt, and that's the way life is. And Meme King was me healing. It was part of my healing journey. I started posting quotes and posting memes, and in the beginning, it was a cry. It was a cry out. Hoping that she could see and see that I was capable of being a good guy. That no matter what was going on in our relationship, that I was still that guy. I was still her person. Then over a period of some months, it became something completely different. As I started to feel like I was helping others, and I was helping others
Mm.
heal. I wasn't just healing, I was helping others heal as well. And once I started to see what that was doing, my focus shifted to strictly serving others and not serving myself anymore.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. And that's so powerful. I mean, I think like just your trajectory, like of starting with that you knew that you had toxic traits. I mean, and I know there's a lot of women on here saying this. I mean, we all have experienced some of that with men, and then to turn that around after you're hurt and and love again, first of all, but to have your heart broken and again continue to learn. One, I can see there's a lot of resilience in you, and I would say, I think like it's really great to hear though that what you did is you took your pain and turned it into power. And it
Absolutely.
sounds like you're definitely healing others. And I mean, from again, like I was drawn to you for sure. So and I was in a bad situation myself when I was starting to watch your stuff. So I know this idea of like the power of the healing because it's inspirational, the things that you're saying. And one of the things I noticed in particular is like you have two mottos that you go by, and it's learn to listen with your eyes rather than your ears, and love is a choice, an action, not a feeling. So tell me a little bit about those two mottos and what they mean to you, and like how do you think what do they mean to you?
Well,
Start there.
well, well. The first one, when I talk about listening with your eyes rather than your ears, I think we all can agree that a lot of us fall in love with pretty words. We fall in love with what people say to us. We hang our hats on what rolls off of people's lips rather than watching their actions. And we, if we train ourselves to listen with this part of us and not this part of us, we'll find ourselves making better choices when it comes to potential suitors. Um, what we don't want to do is get in a habit of just focusing on what people say to us. Like anybody could tell a woman that she's beautiful, she's pretty, I want you, I want to be there for you, I want you part of my life, and then do complete do the complete opposite.
And many
Now,
do.
and then a lot of women per se still hold on to, well, you said you were going to do this for me, you said I was beautiful, you said you want to be part of your life, why aren't you showing me this? Well, train yourself to not care about what a person says to you. Only look at what a person does, you know? And once you start doing that, you start watching their mannerisms. I tell people all the time, watch a person's mannerisms. Watch how a person talks to you. Watch what they do with their hands. Watch what they do with their eyes. Watch their body language. These are all telltale signs of a person's intent. So if you don't want to fall in love with pretty words, just watch how a person interacts with you. Train yourself to listen with this part of you, not this part of you. And you're going to find that your intuition, that voice that comes out, that intuition is going to start spotting these red flags. They're going to alert you to these red flags a lot earlier on, saying this doesn't line up. This doesn't line up. And then those flags will be like, okay, I have to move accordingly.
Right. So energy doesn't lie.
Energy does not lie.
Energy doesn't lie.
Energy doesn't lie.
I think you bring up a really good point that women often don't pay attention to is their intuition and the power of that intuition. And maybe people, I'm going to say people don't pay attention to, because I think it's men and women both, but like that intuition really does go beyond what you're hearing to what you're feeling. And that is really the power behind like recognizing that whole idea. I like that, with listening with your eyes.
And then my other motto is that love is a choice. It's an action. It's not a feeling. What a lot of us think is that when we say I love you, that is a commitment to a person. I'm not talking about like the parenting portion, friend portion. I'm talking about in a relationship. When one person tells another person, I love you, there is a set of responsibilities that come with that statement. And those responsibilities are all actions. If I tell you I love you, that means I am going to respect you. I am going to be honest with you. I am going to treat you like I want you in my life. I'm going to make you a priority. If I tell you that I love you, my actions have to support that statement. Love is just a word until somebody comes along and gives it meaning. So anybody can say I love you, but if you're not showing me love, then it's not really love. And a lot of people think that, well, it's just a feeling. I feel this strong, intense emotion for this person. That's love. No, those are emotions. You feel happy, you feel joy, you feel excitement, you feel butterflies. Those are all emotions. Love itself is an action. Love is a choice. I choose after I gathered all this information about a person, something clicks one day and I'm like, wow, I don't want to be without this person. I might want to build a life with this person. Now I'm choosing this person to try to do that with. That becomes love. Love is the choice. It's the action.
I love that. And it's kind of like a contract, right? So love is a contract, a responsibility of the actions you're going to be doing to maintain that constant connection. Because it's work. Love is work.
Oh yeah.
I think that's for sure something I've seen from a lot of the things you say is that it's not like it's one and done. You got to work on it. But going back to the idea of the two things you lifted up, right? You got to be listening with your eyes to do that, and there has to be a little bit of like vulnerability. It sounds like also in some of the things you're saying.
Of course, there has to be vulnerability. But when I say love is the choice, just think about it. We're in a relationship where we've been in for some time, or we're in a marriage where we've been in for some time. We're not always our person's favorite person. There's going to be times where we don't like our partners. There's going to be time where we're like, listen, I can care less if you're in the same room with me. Why don't you go somewhere else? I'm angry. I'm upset. But we don't just leave the person, because those are just emotions. Love is the choice behind it. Love is saying, listen, even though we're not getting along, even though we're having a rough patch, I still choose you. I love you. So that's my choice. You're my choice. So we'll work through this and we'll figure this out. And the best way for people to continue to choose love is to make sure you're continuously nurturing the connection. That's what people don't do. We don't nurture the connection in the relationships. So if we're constantly nurturing the connection, learning our partner's love languages, speaking them fluently, teaching them,
Mm.
then it's easier to choose love. What happens is a lot of times when people stop choosing love is because they're no longer communicating. You know, they're no longer speaking their partner's love language anymore. You know, there's a lot of things that's the breakdown of the connection, and it causes people to say, "Nah, I'm okay. I don't choose to love you anymore. I want different. I choose
Mm.
me."
So it's a choice that you're making every day, right? Like, so we have to
Every
wake
day.
up and make that choice in an actionable way. And I think you mentioned this idea of like love languages, right? So like, can I ask, like, as you're thinking about all of this, like, how do like how do you think, or what do you think are the toxic behaviors that start to get in the way of those two big pieces of what you're sharing? Like this idea of love being a choice, and like, what is it sometimes that, because I see this in the chat a lot. A lot of women are asking these questions, right? Of like, what do I do? Or how do I respond to the people in my life? And what are those toxic traits that start
Well,
to come up?
well, one of the biggest major breakdowns in the connection between two people is the lack of effective communication. It's not just communication; it's effective communication. We think that just because we talk to someone or we tell them how we're feeling, that is it. But what we need to understand is that how we deliver the message is just as important as the message itself. So
Mm.
if we're not talking in a manner in which our partner can understand us, then we're not really communicating. So one of the things is effective communication, finding a way to get through to your partner. And one of the things I like to tell people is that the first thing in order to do that is stop thinking about right or wrong in a relationship. There is no
Mm.
such thing as right or wrong. It's all about how we make our partners feel. Once we begin validating our partner's feelings, it's no longer about right or wrong. It's all about, let's come to some kind of resolution. I understand that what I did bothered you. What I did hurt you. Whether I feel like it was wrong or not, it bothered you, which means that has to be validated, that has to be addressed.
So it's like lessons. Like you're constantly learning about one another, and you're in this constant space of keeping an open mind to those lessons. So rather than good or bad, right? It's what's the
Of
opportunity here to grow
of course,
and grow
it's
together.
all of course, it's all about getting to know your person every single day. Never stop doing what you did to get that person. Al- always wanting to know more, wanting to learn more. And if we could, if every day we wake up with this commitment to our person, that listen, I'm going to love you, I'm going to find better ways of loving you today. I'm going to find new ways of loving you. If we commit to that on a daily basis, you'll see a lot less people breaking up.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's really powerful. And so with that, this idea of like commitment, you talked about communication and the lessons that we learn. I also noticed that you talk about accountability sometimes. So where does that come in the communication piece or in the growth piece? Like where do we as individuals need to start taking accountability, and what's the role of accountability in relationships from what you've seen?
So if you think about it, you can't make changes or you can't move forward in personal growth until you can accept accountability for what you're not doing right or what you're not doing properly. Um, so being able to say, listen, I know I'm not living up to my end of things. Like, especially as a man, if I know that I'm not leading my woman properly, if I'm not handling my business, if I'm not talking to her or feeding her soul, then I need to hold myself accountable when I find that there's a lot of trouble and struggles in the relationship. It's on me. It doesn't really matter. Well, she's not doing this, she's not doing that. Let me look at what part I'm not doing as a man. because the man sets the tone for the relationship. So being able to hold himself accountable, saying, listen, maybe if I was following through with what I was saying that I was going to do for her, she would trust me more. Maybe if I stopped getting so upset and pissed off and letting my pride get the best of me and just calm down, have a level head, and listen to what she's trying to say, tell me, maybe I can hear her differently. So we have to start holding ourselves accountable. Like me in my personal life, I try to hold myself as accountable as possible. If I don't do something right, I'm not blaming anyone else. That's, for me, that's what cowards do. Cowards blame other people for the things that's not going right. I look at what I'm not doing. If I have a relationship that's failed, a failed relationship, I don't look at what the other person did per se. I look at what parts I didn't do, what part I played in the demise of that relationship. I focus solely on what I didn't do right. I can't control what somebody else does or you know, what they do or don't do. I can only worry about me.
No, yeah. And I think so you were just mentioning like men, right, have to take that accountability, right? But the truth is like women do too. And I've seen you talk about this. If you were to say the accountability that women also need to take when it comes to how we approach those dynamics and relationships, what would be some of those pieces that you think are important for women to recognize?
So when it comes to, so what I found, like in my personal life, dealing with you know, women in my personal life, a lot of times, you know, a woman will want to talk to you, and you know, women are naturally more emotional. So a lot of times there's no real settling. It's like, I'm upset. They wait till they're upset, and then they start rambling off what they want to talk about. This is bothering me. This is this. This is this. This is this. And what happens is, a lot of times it's hard for a man to process all that at one time. If you told me what was going on a while ago and not wait till 5 or 6 different things happen, and I could address the issue a while ago before it became 5, 6 different issues, it's easier to process. And a lot of times too, if you think about it, when a woman says, I'm trying to communicate with you, I'm trying to talk to you, she has to hold herself accountable for, how are you doing that? Are you yelling at me? You know, are you pointing fingers and saying, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, you said you were going to do this? A lot of times a person will get defensive. It's easier if you just tell your partner how you feel. Like, listen, I feel as if I'm not being heard. Like, I feel as if I'm talking and I'm not being heard, or I feel as if this isn't working for me. When you start talking about how you're feeling, then your partner has no choice but to address what your feelings are. But when you say, you're not listening to me, you're not hearing me, it'll make a person want to get defensive. So women have to hold themselves accountable for how they're communicating their needs to their partner as well.
Yeah, and that I feel statement, that's really powerful, right? Because I think that's the difference of what we tend to want to do is say, you did this to me, and it's your fault because you did this to me. So the accountability piece is taking it back and being like, no, but I feel like these are my emotions. I own my own emotions. I'm just sharing them with you. And that's definitely like an important thing to do. I'm also wondering though, if some accountability, and I don't know if this is something you've seen, but like is about boundaries, because sometimes with women, we allow things to happen that we could have not allowed to happen had we seen what we need to do different. And I will say, I've seen some posts that you put up where you do guide women to be like, yeah, but what's your role in this, right? Like, so where do you see boundaries coming in for women? Well, like, what is it that we need to do?
Well, number one with women, you have to know what your boundaries are in the first place. Understanding what your boundaries are, what works for you, what does not work for you. Then you have to willingly enforce your boundaries. Enforce them. Do not be afraid to say, this is not okay with me. I am not okay with this. I am not okay with how you're treating me. You need to do better. And then, more importantly, never compromise your boundaries. So if you know what your boundaries are, you're enforcing your boundaries, you're not compromising your boundaries, a man has no choice but to do right by you, or else you're not going to accept anything less.
And if that's not the man for you and he's not doing right by you, then you know, right? Like, because
Exactly.
someone who doesn't respect your boundaries doesn't respect you.
Exactly. Like you could tell how much somebody really cares about you when you enforce your boundaries with them.
So say more about that. How do you, like, what is it that women or people, right, need to understand about that idea of like how much they care about you through the way they respond to your boundaries?
Yeah. So for example, if you have a man in your life who let's take something simple. You like someone who is not flirtatious, or talking to other women. You don't like that. Whether, let's say it's on social media, you say, listen, I noticed that you're liking all these women's pics. You're liking all these women's posts. You're always like, I don't like that. For me, that's not okay. A good man is going to say to you, okay, maybe I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just social media, but this doesn't make you feel good. So I won't do it because it's bothering you, and you are my priority. You're my person. So if this bothers you, I'll stop it. Now the other guy will say, this is just social media. I'm not doing anything wrong. You need to address your insecurities. You need to worry about this. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. No, I'm not doing anything wrong. Now, she has to make a choice. She knows it's not okay with her. That is her boundary. She's been clear about it. If he does it again, she has to make a choice. Do I accept this behavior, or do I say this is not going to work for me because you're not respecting my boundary, and move accordingly?
So respecting boundaries is a little bit like putting your ego to the side. So a man who's willing to put his ego to the side respects your boundaries. If the man is not willing to put his ego to the side, he's not respecting your boundaries, and that's your indication that this isn't really worth your time. It's not gonna end the way you want it to end. Absolutely. That's for sure.
Listen, a man with too much pride can never have a healthy relationship.
Nah. Ego is, look, I write about that. Let go of your ego is a serious thing, right? Like, you got to let go of your ego.
Listen, there's something I've been saying for years. Pride has destroyed greater men than myself. Whenever I find myself getting prideful, egotistical, or getting, self-absorbed with a certain situation, I remind myself, pride has destroyed greater men than yourself. So I use that to self-regulate, because even I get prideful at times.
Right. I mean, and I think all of us do. All of us have that ego in us. It's how do we regulate it? That's a great point, right? So I really appreciate, like, I think that this is what your fans want. They want to know your advice and your info, and I really appreciate that you shared so much of that. But I also want to know a little bit more just about you personally, okay? because this is the intimate conversation. So in all of this process, what have you learned about yourself through just, and not just meme king, but I would say from like where you started this journey of like healing yourself to healing others?
I mean, what I've learned that I still struggle in certain areas. I've learned, like, in full transparency, I still feel like I'm working on some toxicity within myself, which is I struggle with intimacy. And I've been working on that for the last, say, 8-10 months, is that not physical intimacy, but emotional intimacy. Like, I have trouble allowing someone to truly come into my, I have trouble allowing people in. And I fear betrayal more than anything, because I'm an empath, and I pick up on everything. Again, I've also trained myself to listen with my eyes, not my ears. So I'm processing so much information at one time about the other person that it's hard for me to meet people who are genuine. So I've learned that about me, is that sometimes I have to take a step back and not be so analytical, and just allow myself to just
That's a
let go.
hard thing. That's a hard thing. Look, I'm an analytical overthinker, so I respect that. I respect that,
But see,
but I know the way it overtakes, right?
but I'm both. But see, I'm both. Like I'm overly analytical and I'm empathetic and I'm an empath. So
Right.
it's so much firing off at one time. Like I can be emotional, but I also could be completely shut off. So it's like it gets a little wild sometimes.
Right, but that's the truth about, like, I think how we process stuff is that we're never just one thing. We hold so many complexities, right? Like you can't just be one thing that you're just an empath. Like I think like that, and that's a layered thing because one person's empath behavior is a different for another person's, right? So like
Right.
we are so layered and dynamic as individuals. But I think what's really interesting that you just mentioned is like when you said your toxic behavior and you're talking about working on it, you identified where it came from. That's really powerful. Like you were able to say, my fear of intimacy comes from this, a fear of
Right.
betrayal.
Yep.
Like, but that's something that not a lot of us spend the time to figure out in order to address those toxicities.
Yeah, but it took me a long time to be able to do those types of things. Again, accountability, being able to have that. Accountability is my other love language. Accountability is my love language. I do a lot of self-reflection daily. So every day I'm working on me every single day. So
So it should
just
be.
little small parts. So being able to do that, it helps me process some of my own stuff.
No, that's and that is what we all need to be doing is working on ourselves, whether or not we're healing or we've hurt someone. Either way, working on ourselves is an everyday choice too, for sure. So you advise people on healing, but this requires a level of vulnerability. Like even just now, you were able to share some vulnerability in your own like toxicity, right?
Yep.
What is allowing you to open up with that vulnerability for others when it comes to making this leading with love and healing others?
Because I've accepted that I love who I am, and I am who I am, and the right people will understand that and love me for who I am. I don't wish to please anyone. Um, I wish to serve, but I don't wish to please. So my vulnerability comes from the fact that I'm okay if you're not feeling me. I'm okay if I'm too much. I'm okay if I'm not enough, because I am all those things for me. So I know that when you're dealing with people, especially as a man dealing with a woman, there's so much men, there's so many men out there who have this machismo and who's always want to be tough. Listen, I'm an alpha male, but I am not an alpha male to the point where I can't let go, that I can't take a step back and be sensitive and be vulnerable. Like I'm okay. I'm in touch with who I am as a man. I'm in touch with my feelings. I'm in touch with my emotions. I can convey them. I can articulate them. So my vulnerability comes from the fact that I know that I'm able to articulate to you how I feel. A lot of times men don't know how to talk about their emotions. We don't know how to address our emotions or articulate our emotions.
But I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
No, so I think that what you said though about being an alpha male, to me, like that idea is, it really is that the alphas that are true alphas don't have to say it, right? And part of that not saying it is that also like there's a balance of those things, because if you're truly an alpha, you're a leader, and that leader has to have some sensitivity for the people that you're leading. You got to see others and have that empathy and have that emotional maturity and intellect. So that is very much the alpha way in really coming across, and not a lot of men have it. You're very right. Like you're very right.
A lot of men think that because they're so hard, they're so tough, and they want to take control of everything, that's what makes them alpha. That's not an alpha male. Alpha male understands all the dynamics of his emotions,
Hmm.
all the dynamics of who he is as a person, his weaknesses, his strengths, all of them. And he's able to demonstrate all of them. He can demonstrate his weaknesses. He can demonstrate his strengths all the same. He's comfortable within his manhood. That is a true alpha.
Yeah. No, thank you. And you know what? I appreciate the breakdown because I think hopefully there's some men listening to this situation and they're taking it all in, because I think there's a whole lot of debate on what alpha really is. And a lot of men, especially young men, and I'm going to say I have 3 boys. So I know you talked about kids, but I have 3 boys that are grown boys. And I would say that their understanding of alpha is sometimes skewed because of all the messages around them. And that's like, for our young guys, that's a big thing. There are fewer boys who really truly understand what it is to be a pure alpha male in a way where you're a protector and you're still taking care of or examining yourself, right? Like in that way,
Right.
like you have to be vulnerable a little bit, right?
You have to be. In order to be a true alpha, to understand your power, you have to understand your weaknesses.
I like that. To understand your power, you have to understand your weaknesses.
So if you don't do that, if everything is about strength, then you're not really learning anything.
Yeah.
Like I've been able to submit to both my weaknesses and my strengths.
No, that's awesome. And so, like, a couple of things. One, I'm curious to know, because so you are, and I will say this is why you caught my eye, because there are a lot of women who give women advice, and there are a lot of men who have given women advice, but it's from a male perspective that isn't always conducive to what women really need to understand and hear. So you are very different in your approach, because clearly you have women and men who recognize that what you're saying is purposeful. Like, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's concrete. It's clear. And so I would ask you, so like, maybe there's a guy out there right now who's watching, and maybe he's realizing his own toxic pattern right now. And he's trying to think of what is my first step? What is my first way to start to figure out what I need to do differently so that I can invite a healthy relationship and the kind of woman I want in my life and keep them?
Accountability, being able to identify that you have an issue. That is the number one thing. But accountability without an action plan is a waste of self-awareness. So you have to have the accountability, and then you have to have an action plan. I had both. I was able to accept that this is not right, that I wasn't living right, I wasn't treating women right, and then I came up with an action plan. What was I going to do? And a lot of times also is you may have to seek outside help. And there's nothing wrong with seeking therapy, mediation, if you need it. A lot of us get we think that we shy away from therapy and things like that because we think that it's going to make us look bad to society or to other people. But listen, if you need help, get help.
Yeah.
But accountability is the first thing. Being able to hold yourself accountable.
Thanks, and that's powerful. So, and I guess so for women, what I've been curious to know, or even for your listeners, like, what is it? Yeah.
I am on 10%. I need to grab my charger.
All right. Okay. You go grab your charger. And while you're grabbing your charger, I know we got some chats coming up. So we'll do some question and answers maybe after that. So you go ahead and grab your charger.
Give me 5 minutes.
And we've got some commercials we can throw in, I think, right now. Hi,
my name is Maria, but you are soon going to know me as Brown Girl Interrupting. And what I mean by that is that very soon, hopefully, you're going to be following my blog. I am a writer. And I started writing because I was married, I had children, and then my life changed when I separated. And I did a lot of learning and reflecting and growing in that process of change, because change always leads us to that. And I've decided to share that with the rest of the world, because sometimes hearing that someone else is going through the same thing as you, or understanding and putting words to the feelings and experiences we're having, helps us to heal from them, or grow from them, or learn from them. And so that's what my blog is. It's writing about life, healing, relationships, parenting, dating, marriage, pain, love, mistakes, growth, and coming out whole still in all of it as a human, flawed, but always open to new things. So that's my life, that's my journey, and it's written in this blog. But my hope is that you are going to go to www.browngirlinterrupting.com and join and subscribe to the blog and read all about my story to help you maybe gain some perspective on yours.
So thank you, and thanks, Jaleesa.
I just want to apologize. I just want to apologize for that.
No.
I had no idea my battery life was going to drain like that quick.
No worries. You're good. So now we're good with our charger. And just quickly, so those of you who just saw the commercial, hopefully you go to browngirlinterrupting.com and you subscribe. Make sure there's a lot of writing in there about my healing journey. So I took the idea of pain to power a little differently than Q here, in that I was married and I write about my own experience. So hopefully that's going to help you with yours. And if you and also, we have a spiritual healing podcast that comes on at 9 o'clock on this channel, as well as Better Minds Interrupting, which is right there in the podcast you can see. And we talk about the path of spiritual healing through what do you need to do to heal yourself. So definitely tune in and check us out at 9 o'clock on Thursday nights. All right, so Q, back to you. And I'm glad we got the phone all set. And so before we go into the chat, I got to ask you, what's the thing that for you really want people that watch you, listen to you, they're following you to take away?
That we are all worthy. That we are all worthy, that we are all valuable, that we all have a purpose. And that until we start treating ourselves with respect, until we start learning how to love ourselves, nobody is ever going to value us. Nobody's ever going to love us until we do it for ourselves first. And since I say love is an action, we have to start treating ourselves with love first. Yeah. And once we start doing that, we're going to find that things are going to be a lot easier. We're not going to be accepting a lot of crap from people because we understand what our value is. We understand that we are worthy. We understand that we have a purpose. And if somebody's coming into our lives and they're not matching our energy, we're not staying. We're moving.
And that is so true, right? Love ourselves. And that's so much a part of this journey. And for me, I would say that like one of the big things I've learned is my boundaries started to come up when I started to finally love myself the way I needed to. And I feel a difference in what I'm allowing in my life because of it, right? So thanks. And that's so important, that we are all worthy. I hope everyone's walking away feeling that definitely after today's conversation. So to the chat, do we have any questions? I know we've had so many comments, and we were so into just learning more about Q and the Memekin story that we didn't get to everything. So Cassia is saying yes, or a movie. So I think that was Turning Pain into Power. Sounds like the great title for a book. So actually, so that's the title of the show that you're going to be seeing weekly from Brown Girl Interrupting. It is Pain to Power, Leading with Love. So thank you to Q, because he was my guinea pig in this process of interviewing someone to learn about that. And that was awesome. So, and Jalitza says he should go on a healing tour. I will go see him. Yes, I think you got a lot of fans.
I'm working on my book, so I plan to have that done within a year. So I'm working on a shorter book, which it's going to be called the Book of Q Notes. So it's going to have like my memes and stuff like that. Then it's going to be broken down into context. And then I'm also working on the novel portion of a book as well, which I have a plan for 2 years for that. 1 year for the smaller book, 2 years for the bigger book. And I would like to get into motivational speaking as well. So those are goals of mine, is to move past social. Also, I'm a brand. I do own merchandise. I have a business. So there's a lot of things that I'm working on.
Thank you. So, and that's great to hear. And I think that there's some links in the details, the description here, so you can see that we have links to your website so that people can follow you. And that
Yep.
is that how everybody's going to keep up with what your next projects are, is through your website? Like, what's the best way?
Absolutely. Right now, I'm a one-man show. So, you know, as I get a little bit more, remember, I've only been doing this for 7 months now. You know,
pretty impressive.
So I've only been doing this for 7 months. So, you know, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to process it all. Sometimes it can get it's a bit overwhelming, you know, growing as fast as I'm growing. So
Right.
I'm still learning, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, follow my journey, follow my platforms, and then I'm going to keep everybody informed of what's happening next with me. I'm always engaging with my people. Like, I'm with my friends, my family, my father. Like, I'm always engaging with you guys. You can always look to me for that.
Well, I can see it because Kay Brady says that I missed it. Oh, she said, this is why I resonate so much with you. So, and I'm seeing that pattern and theme coming up in all these chats, is that so many people are resonating with what you're sharing. And that is the power of leading with love, is because you are leading people towards loving themselves, towards understanding themselves better. So Allison says, what does silent treatment really mean? It's a good question. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it can mean a number of things. A lot of times we ignore people because we don't want to face the problem. Maybe we don't know how to face the problem. I know if you want to talk about narcissism, silent treatment is one of the biggest tools in narcissism. You know, making you want to beg for them to talk to you, making you ignoring the person so that they keep coming to you. It's all manipulation. So if you find someone who's constantly giving you the silent treatment, and you're not understanding why, you might be falling for a narcissist.
Well, and does it also depend on how that silence is being used? Because if it's used to control a situation, then yes, like that's that narcissism definitely coming out. But there are moments where silence is maybe about also space and internal reflection. So it depends on how long, too, right?
It depends on the intent. It's all about intent. Like, sometimes, you know, we go silent because we're trying to process. Those who have good intent, sometimes we withdraw because we just may not know how to talk, how to tell you how I'm feeling, how to convey to you what's going on. We're not there yet. So we withdraw. But if you're reaching out to someone, constantly saying, listen, like, you're not talking, what's going on, and they continue to ignore you, that's completely different. Because even though someone goes silent, you still have the responsibility to make sure your partner's okay. You can say, listen, I'm not okay. I don't want to talk about this right now. We will address this later, but right now I need time to process. Then you can retreat back into yourself if that's what's needed. But you need to be clear with your partner, that's what's going on. We shouldn't leave our partners hanging.
Yeah, that communication, even if it's just a text like, hey, I'm just working through some stuff, right? But I'm here, right? Just letting someone know they're here. And I would say, just from my own experience, just speaking, I know you want the cue to answer, but I'm gonna just share some thoughts as a woman too, from my perspective, is that it becomes a trigger. So if you've had a narcissistic relationship and then you're in maybe a healthier relationship and you start to feel silent treatment, you have to really think about, is it a trigger from a past relationship, or is it really that this person has this ill intent? And that's again, I think, going back to what you started with, which is listening with your eyes and not your ears, because energy tells you a lot.
Yep. Absolutely.
And your intuition, right? So I see Kennedy is in here. I just say it. LOL. Kennedy's always got some things to say on our chats. All right. And Allison says, since New Year's, I've even written notes. Okay. All right. Oh, wait. Oh, are we talking about the silence? So Allison says, I'm blocked on everything since New Year's.
So really, no response is a response. Miss Allison, this is directed toward you. No response is a response. if you have someone in your life who has decided that they want to be absent from it, and that's not what you want, and they block you on different things, that is your answer. No response is a response. Choose you. It's that simple.
Choose you. Yeah. Thanks. I think that's really powerful. And that's important, right? So the silence is also a message.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may
sure.
not have replied back to me, but I got your message.
Right. I got the message.
I got the message.
I got the silent message, because that's certainly, and I see Better Minds Interrupting. That is my co-host, Lovely T, who is on the pod, we podcast together, Better Minds Interrupting, on Thursday nights, and she's saying they also are being passive aggressive. And I think I heard someone else say that in the chat as well. Definitely, silence can certainly be passive aggressive.
Absolutely. It's absolutely. Those are all characteristics of being passive aggressive. Silent treatment. Yeah, you don't have to. It's all part of it.
So
but when we talk about Allison herself, we're talking about her situation where she's saying since New Year she's been blocked on things, no contact, silent. That's not passive aggressiveness. That's past that. That's
right. Yes, definitely. Right. So hopefully, Allison, you really listened to what Q said in terms of it definitely is choose you, because that is someone who is not is putting their ego before you.
Yeah.
And that's not worth it. So I saw another comment on here. I think, I don't know if we can go back to that. It was a response to the narcissism. I think Jalitza had it. So I'm waiting. I think it's going to come back up. But as we're waiting on that and we're closing ourselves out, thank you so much for tonight. And thank you to everybody who stuck with us through TikTok and technology. And this was a little bit of a first time for me and for Q, I know, right? Like, yep. So look, and thank you, man. We made it through. And I really appreciate that you were here. You shared your story. You were so flexible, I have to say, like, with all of it.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell some more of my story. I mean, I'm here. I'm here for everyone,
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And it looks like Linda says this is so helpful. Okay, I don't read text that well. I don't know what I don't know. Oh, I don't know what to do. We also have 2 kids. So Allison, it sounds like though, choose you means maybe just put your energy and everything into you and your kids, and
absolutely,
and let that be over there.
Yeah, you can't force someone. You can't, Miss Allison, you can't force someone to do the right thing. You can't force someone to be present if they don't want to be there. You can't force someone to be responsible. You cannot force someone. No matter how much love you want to give a person, no matter how much energy you want to put into something, if they aren't reciprocating it or they're not able to receive it, there is nothing you can do about that. So you do know what to do. It's just a question of, are you willing to do it? What you need to do is choose yourself and choose your kids. It's that simple. There is nothing else. It's clear cut.
Yeah.
You need to choose you. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you this for all the single moms out there. Your kids are watching you. Even for your single fathers, your kids are watching you. Always choose yourself. Period.
Yeah. And it will teach them to always choose themselves. And I think, and then honestly, like, I think about it, I appreciate that you said that, because I think as a mother, I'm always thinking, how do I make sure that the adults I'm raising and putting into the world are not going to follow toxic behaviors in other people's lives, right?
Because all we're doing is teaching our children what behaviors are okay. If we allow ourselves to put up with toxicity from a partner, and our children are seeing this, we're laying the groundwork for what they're going to choose, or the behavior they're going to exhibit to others.
Yeah. And accept.
Our children are watching us all the time. So if you're not allowing yourself to be loved properly, your children are not going to allow themselves to be loved properly, or they're going to love somebody else improperly.
And that is definitely those generational curses and those toxic cycles that are passed down. So be savvy. Christina says that's it. And I think I saw some more thoughts. Better Minds Interrupting. You cannot control others, only yourself. You have to let go. Yep, Allison, exactly that. Be Savvy says, then the cycle continues. Yeah, exactly, right? So we want to break the cycles. The whole point of Pain to Power and Leading with Love is to break the cycles and to learn from one another through collective community. So you can definitely be following Meme King. Definitely follow him to learn. And I mean, follow me. I've got some ideas too. And come see us on Better Minds Interrupted, where we talk about spiritual healing. Salute, Mr. Jones. Salute to everyone in the chat and panel behind the works. Thank you for joining us again on this podcast. And thank you. Have a great night. And definitely tune in Thursday at 9 o'clock. Be here for Better Minds Interrupting as well.
Be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. All right?
Peace.